Funding for The Router Workshop is provided in part by Hitachi Power Tools, manufacturers of a full range of construction and woodworking power tools. With a router and a little creative thinking, you can create some very unique and truly beautiful projects. Today, Bob and Rick show you how to use box joints in walnut and ash to route a desk set to hold pens, pads, and paper clips. Organize your desk at home or in the office with a desk set you built yourself. Coming up next in The Router Workshop.
We got a desk organizer here, Rick, so you can put places for your papers and things, and what we've got is an in and out box, and I'm going to get you to do this fancy little scalping off that jig, and I'm going to do the box joints on here, but You've got a neat product.
Yeah, you too. I've got the paper holder, and again, the box joints are on the side of this piece here, and we have a little tray here that we're setting up for holding your paper clips and your pen. So I'll tell you what, Dad, I'm going to go ahead and get ready and set up for cutting the paper clip tray, and give me these pieces here.
Take that with you.
And we'll take this away and let you go to work.
Now, what I've set up here is I've got some box joints to make, and I've got a sample piece. And a good idea, people, every time you set up to make box joints, try a sample piece first rather than out of your good pieces. And just to show you, I just cut those in it and see how they fit in it. That's what we want. Let me give you the theory of this. The height of the bit in here is determined by the thickness of material you're using. And then what we need to do in it is set it up this way. There's three things that are equal. Number one, we got a width of a bit. Number two, we got a width of a fence. And number three, we got a width of a space between it. Now, it's that space that's critical. If you want a tight fit, you have a larger space in here, you'll get tight. If you want to get it down so it's a little loose, just tap in on it. You'll get a little give on the bolts, and you narrow that space up, and then your joint gets loose. So this way you can tighten or loosen just by tapping with your fine adjusting tool. So I got it set up the way I want. So really the only thing I have to do is pick the pieces that I want. And I'm going to start off with the tray itself, and these pieces happen to be about a ½ inch thick. So we got two ends and two sides. Now, again, what we're going to do is locate a fence side. So we'll just take an indicator on here and put a pencil mark on it. That indicates that that is the side that will go to the fence. Now, what about bit height? Well, don't measure it. The more you measure, more mistakes you make. So just set that down like that. Put a piece over the top. Pop it in here. You don't care how thick it is. You just want it to be right, and that's what we got. Now we got the height set. Now, what I need to do is run these in here, and we're going to come to that point. I'll run these two walnut pieces, the ends, and then I'm going to stop because we have to make an offset. Let me set these aside here. Get my little stick. I'm going to use a little stick in here, and what it is holds this inside of it. And Rick had a good point in here when he found, is cut right into your block of wood here. You can see the little notch that I've got, and then take the stick away and you can back up. If you even want to, you can run a groove right through that and lift the groove over, and that'll help you keep it, if you wish, in it. And you can put a shaker peg in it too. Let me see if we got some power. We got power plugged in and we're away. Well, that walnut cuts pretty nice. For those of you that haven't had an opportunity to use a spiral bit, look at the cuttings that came off of that. That's because of the long cutting angle that it has. That's not rubbing the wood off, it's actually cutting it off. Now, here's where the offset comes in. We have to get those to come flush on the outside. So we don't want to start with a pin on the outside. We want to start with a little notch in it. So we're going to use an offset block. And that offset block looks like this. We've got a groove in here, and that groove was put in on this fixture just by running this through the router bit and cutting the groove through. Now, when you get it done, just turn it over and run it past the bit. Don't let it sit there because the rotation of the bit will take that stick and shoot it away for you. So make sure you clamp it down. So we're going to clamp it down, and this will make the offset. Now, the only offset I need in it is put that side again, then side in here, cut one, turn it over, cut the other. Then we're going to stop, take it off, and continue cutting those pieces. Let's just start up and do that. While that runs down, I'll let you have a look there. You can see I got the first one. That gives me my locator. Now we'll take the block off, and that'll move me over, and we can run the rest. Don't take the block or your clamp off your block until the bit has come down running. Just at the last, it'll just take that and scoot that out there, and it'll shoot it away as fast as that bit's running, so have a little caution in that. Set my walnut pieces in here, and we'll cut these. Now, let's see if we got some kind of a fit inside of here. Isn't it nice when things fit, people? Nothing's any good unless it fits, and we've got it flush on both sides. Now, we could put that whole thing together, but we do need that scalp in it, and I'm going to take one of those pieces, and I'm just going to lay it over here for Rick. Kind of neat in the shop, you just lay things over and they get done for you, you know, when they come done. I don't like to do that job anyway.
The first operation I have to do is cut the recess for the paper clips on the pen holder. And to start with, what I'm going to do is show you the router that I've got set up. So the first thing we're going to slide into place here is I'm going to give you a view of the, once I get that lock in place here that's moving in place and tighten it up, is let's show you the router bit. The router bit's a little bit different, and the only thing different about it is it's a flat bottom dish cutting bit. So number one thing about it is, and let's just get the pen out here and let you look at it, is that the carbide crosses right over the top of it, so that when it cuts it out, it gets a nice clean bottom on it. And the other little difference to it is, and if I roll that around so you can see it is that the corners are rounded on it so that when I cut out the recess, the inside recess is going to have a rounded edge on it. Now let's take a quick look at the jig next. The depth has already been preset, so all we have to do is plunge in and do it. I've gone ahead and we've got it set up like an oval shape here. Toggle clamps holding the piece in place. And all we have to do now is line up over top of it, plunge in, make sure we go in the right direction, and then clean out the bottom. So that's what we're going to do here right now. To start with, we'll get the router in place, get a good feel for it. It's a good thing to try it just to make sure that everything works before you start plunging into your piece of material that you're using. All right, let's plug it in. And again, like I said before, make sure you do everything with unplugs, so your setups and things are done when it's unplugged. Check to make sure it's in an off position. All right. So we'll go ahead and start that. You might want to do this in a couple passes. We'll just see how she feels here when we get it into place. Now, the first cut I've made, gone ahead and cleared it out, but it's gone ahead and collected a lot of sawdust. So let's clear that sawdust out. And the dish is starting to get fine. We're going to slide it back in here again, line it back up on the line that we've got set up here. And we've got some dirt on the side here. So we'll line it back up on the line, clamp it back down, and let's go ahead and cut it one more time. Just to clean it up. One time to clear it out, one time to clean it up. You still see the dust on the side there? Well, I think we've just about got it right. Let's take a look at it here. We've got the bottom cleared out. All we need to do now is go ahead and mold the outside edges. And I've got a Roman OG bit that I'm going to do that. So to do this, to start with, we're going to do that in a table-mounted setup. We're going to take down all these pieces we've got here. So I'll just set this piece down here. And let's clean up the table here a bit. Unplug it. And let's move some of this stuff off so we can take a look at it. A little bit dusty. That's one thing about walnut. It's got an awful dry dust to it. All right, slide those pieces down underneath. Get rid of this other block here. You notice these blocks here allow us to go ahead and clamp it up right close. You got to make sure you got your fixtures held properly. Let's take a look at the bit that I've got put in here to start with. Bring it up. Set it up here. This particular bit's a little bit different. We're using a plunge OG, so we have to use a fence with this. If you've got any irregular shapes and you want to use this kind of bit, you have to use a pattern and a guide system to follow it. This one here has got no bearing on the top. It's got a full OG in place. And the first setup I'm doing right now is to go ahead and put the profile line on the piece, and I'll just rotate it around so maybe you can see a little better look at it. The line has got this line in here, and that's going to put the line on the face of the piece. It's always a good idea to do that on your pieces because, you know, if you get a little warp or twist in it, that line will save you. So, okay, we've got that in place. The next thing is the fence. Now, let's bring the fence up here. All I've done with the fence, again, it's very important that the cutting edge of the tool be in the same place as the infeed and the outfeed. So let's go ahead and put the clamp on. I'm going to stick one clamp on to start with. Tighten down that one clamp. Now, the tricky part is making sure that the cutting edge of the tool is just touching the piece that we're working with. So I'm going to get myself a piece of material here. The way I like to set it up is set it perfectly perpendicular to your fence, and then go ahead and push the fence inside, put the block of wood over top, and just push it till it touches the edges. And that gets you fairly close to where you want to be. Any fine adjusting after that you can do on your own. So we'll set that up. I'm going to go ahead now and just check to see how close it is. You can always measure best when you're feel. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm just going to give it one tap. Check it again. Should be right on. All right. Let's grab our piece here now. And I need a push block. I've got one right over here. Again, the easy part to this whole thing is going across the grain, with the grain, across the grain, back with the grain. We want the molded edge on the face side up, so we want to make sure that that's down when we're making our cuts. Let's go ahead and plug it in and cut them. The molded edge on the front. And the piece that I was showing you to start with was that profile line. I made it high enough so that it has a complete line on here. Now, if this is a little warped, that line will disappear and all your imperfections will be in the perpendicular part of this. I'm going to do one more operation. I'm just going to lower the bit so we show just the cove part of the tool, and then we'll take a look and see what it looks like with little feet. I'm going to move this piece of tape here. I put it in line, and I've got it set for 3/4. So we'll just line that up so it's right over the center. That leaves me a start point and a finish point to go ahead and put the marks in. So let's try that now. Now, by using just the cove on the piece, we've given it the illusion of having feet on the bottom of the little pen stand.
Now, I'm going to continue here, and I'm going to change now. What I'm going to change to is some very small pieces in it, and the reason is we got that little notepad holder that Rick had on that base, and they're only about 1/4 inch thick. So the only alteration we have to do is change the height of the bit in it. So again, locate it by putting it in there. Don't measure it. Then we'll locate this down in here, and we'll put the piece over the top, and we got the height set. Now, I missed that up there. I didn't push it up high enough in it, so we'll just do it again. Pop it in here, put the piece over the top, and lock it in. And we got it set. And now, I'm going to let that come right through. These are little thin pieces in it, and they could give you kind of a hassle when it comes to the end here, so we'll get that done right in it. Like a ketchup bottle here. Now, here's the thing with this. These are very thin pieces, and you look at it, and I used 2 pieces of walnut, 2 pieces of ash again. One of the reasons was that it shows up better, and you can see what it is. Now, on your pieces, a lot of times I keep telling people, you pick a face side, you pick a best side. Here's a good example. I got a little bit of bark on this outside edge, and what'll be neat about it, we'll pick the other side. That'll be inside of the box, and if we choose to round it over, it'll probably take it away. Now, again, this is the side that goes to the fence. These are the sides that are also going to the fence. We're going to start with the little ones, and we'll cut them, make sure we got enough in here. Now, holding these things, again, you might like to, you could double stick tape those 2 together and cut them at once if you like. We're going to do them singly here, and hang on. Keep your fingers up out of the cutter there, and again, let the block stay over the bit, and then take the stick away. So we'll run them through, and then I have to make the offset. Couple of little things are showing up here, and I'll talk to you a little later about it, but this is where I've got to make that offset. So now, we'll go back again, and we'll just stick that offset block on and clamp it into place and make the first cut on each side. Got it tightened in here. Now, lay those 2 there and go back to these. We'll let that run down, and then we'll take the clamp off and pull the stick. I never trust myself to hold that because you never know when that gets just a little turn on it, and it'll bring that away from you there. So we'll set it up. Now we'll go back and finish them. What's neat about using a fixture like that, you set it up once, you don't adjust anything. As long as you get it set up your fit, you're away. Now here's what I want to show you. See how they all came out evenly to the end, and I ended up with a real little thin piece on the end. Usually what I try to do is cut these pieces so they work out equally. This time I got a little thicker. So what you might like to do is just trim it off, and as you see on this one, you got the notch for it. It won't affect anything in it when you put them together, but what will affect in it is that you might not get that down in there. Well, they did come out pretty flush on time. Sometimes that's a little different, and it's because you didn't get them exactly right. You may not like to have that little part on, that's what I'm saying. You might want to cut that off of there. So anyway, we got a fit inside of it, and now what we need to do is check with Rick over there.
The next operation we have to do is cut the scalps out for the in and out box. Now, let's just take a look at the jig I've got here to start with. If you notice it, it's got the scalp side on here, and then it's got a spot here will allow us to stop. What I'm going to do is just cut half the scalp, stop, and then I'm going to turn the machine off, reverse the piece, and then cut the scalp again on the other side. What we're doing here is we're paying attention to the grain of the wood, and we're always cutting in a downward motion. So let's take a look at that. I've got the bit already in place. It's a flush trim bit. It's got a guide in position. We're allowing ourselves to touch to the piece before we get into any cutting. Make sure that happens when you build your jigs. You want to have something to hold on to? All right, we'll plug her in. Let's take a look at this and cut it. Turn it off and leave it in place because you really don't want to back up out of this. And I'm going to flip it now. That's so we can get a clean cut in the scalp. There's our first cut. Now we'll flip it back in here and we'll get the other one set up and keep it tight to the pins. And we'll make our last cut. And there's the scalp for the in and out box. It's time for Router Bits, where we highlight viewer mail and projects. Our first project is from Bill of California.
Dear Bob and Rick, I've taken early retirement and have made woodworking part of my agenda. I enjoy making clocks with the help of my wife, and we've been very successful selling our products at craft shows. This is my clock collection. Each of the clocks was made with a variety of different router operations. The first clock has been mounted into a pivot base. The base has been molded with a 3/16-inch beading bit. I cut out the pivot bracket and circular clock support, then molded each of them with the same beading bit. My second clock design is one with an inlay of contrasting woods. The outside edges have a simple roundover. The next clock design has cove cuts in the top and is molded to match. The thing about craft shows is that they make you more aware of the need to have new and innovative products. The router has helped immensely to produce wood projects with a difference. The router is useful to cut the holes for the clockworks, and cove or roundover bits shape the edges. Thanks for the insight on the use of the router.
Our second viewer project is from Bob of Nebraska. Bob is a teacher who's into crafts. He has used his router and jig to square up and prepare the blocks for his chessboard. He's glued up the board with an outside frame. The outside framework is decorated with routed moldings. As well, Bob has routed a vein between the chessboard and the moldings to help hide any slight imperfections. Chessboards are a perfect project for contrasting woods.
Isn't it nice when it fits so snug up in there? Nothing like a box joints, folks, because when you put it together, at least it's where you wanted it, and you'll get a nice square box. Rick, how you coming there?
I got the pieces done here.
I'll bring these over. You brought a little block of wood together. Ah, neat
There's
scalp
the one
in
with
it.
the scalp in place. I'll put this box together. All we have to do now, folks, is put together the pieces here. And I'm putting together the little notepad, and you're getting the in-out box part of it done. We'll have one of them anyways.
The only thing we're lacking in this box,
I
Rick,
gotta get mixed up.
the only thing we're lacking in this box is the bottom.
Right?
And I'm going to turn it over, and then we'll just talk about that a little bit. Oh, look at this.
Now you're just gonna...
You know what? No glue.
No glue on that one? There you go.
Now, what we could do with the bottom, I guess we could put a rabbit in here.
Rabbit and put the
1/8 plywood.
quarter-inch plywood in the bottom. I've got the block here piece that fits and holds the notepad in place. We've got the paper clip holder, and you're ready. Just have to put a pen set in it, and we're ready. Well, watch us next time on the Router Workshop.
We'd like to hear from you. You can email us at the address on your screen. Send your comments, questions, or project ideas to the Router Workshop, Post Office Box 608, Chamberlain, South Dakota 57325. Or in Canada, the Router Workshop, Post Office Box 280, Ely, Manitoba ROH OHO. To learn more about the Router Workshop, visit us at the internet address on your screen. In 1940, when this folding table was built, no one knew this style was to become the TV table of the 50s. As a matter of fact, many people still use them today. In a special two-part series, Bob and Rick will show you how to use your router station to create your own folding table. That's next time in the Router Workshop. Funding for The Router Workshop is provided in part by Hitachi Power Tools, manufacturers of a full range of construction and woodworking power tools. For $16.99 plus $4.99 shipping and handling, you can order Bob and Rick Rosenthal's The Router, a 130-page book which includes a plan to build the router table and bench, plus numerous tips, techniques, and educational information. Call 1-800-803-1449.